Hey guys, today I am here with wellness specialist Allie. My name is Morgan and we're going to be talking about knee pain. I'm going to be talking about knee pain specifically for my runners or anybody that does a lot of leg heavy cardio, rowing machines, even taking long walks to something. If you have any knee pain you're going to want to focus on, I'm going to talk about a little bit about proper footwear, how to warm up, and our recovery. Allie is going to talk about hypermobile knees and how to know if you are overextending those knees and give you some ideas of some exercises you can do to help solve that problem over time. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and hop right in and I'll see you guys later. Hey guys, I'm going to show you a quick warm up that you can do to make sure that your glutes are firing and that your knees are ready for your run. But first we're going to talk a little bit more about that muscular imbalance that I mentioned at the intro. So I mentioned that a lot of people have really overactive quads. And unfortunately, because of that, we have underactive glutes and hamstrings. The reason being is that we sit all day. And when we sit all day, our glutes and our hamstrings are stretched out and they get weakened over time. And our quads are very considerate. They take over, they help us move, but they work a little harder than they should. And that can lead to our glutes and our hamstrings becoming even weaker over time. It can add to really tight calves as well as knee pain and shin splints because you kind of have that shearing force on your knees. They're working a little harder than they're supposed to when we're doing a lot of lower body work. And this isn't isolated to just running. This can be jogging. This can be long walks, long distance walks, your elliptical, things like that for sure as well. So before we start any sort of really lower body heavy cardio, we always want to make sure we're properly warming ourselves up so that our glutes and our hamstrings are in fact functioning. So first thing I like to do, go ahead, grab a lacrosse ball. If you have one of those MB1 massage balls from Trigger Point, that is great as well. Tennis ball works just as fine too. We're gonna go ahead and put it right underneath our big toe, right on that big ball of our foot. And from there, we're gonna go ahead and slowly roll it up to our heel pocket, right on the inside of that arch. So your heel pocket is that little divot, kind of right before that little bony protrusion right on the bottom of your foot. I like to go for 3 passes, but if you find anything kind of icky or sticky in the meantime that looks like it needs a little extra love, go ahead and spend some extra time there. Let's go ahead, we're gonna put that ball right between, like second, third toe, right in the middle of our foot. We're gonna do the exact same thing, just rolling back to the heel pocket. And then of course, we're gonna go all the way out to the edge of the foot, right underneath that pinky toe, and we're gonna roll up to our heel one more time. Perfect. And then from there, I want you to go ahead and put it where we started, right underneath that big toe. And this time we're gonna go sideways. We're gonna go all the way to the pinky, back to that big toe. And again, spend some time where you find anything icky, sticky, or crunchy. Now I want you to go ahead and find that little heel pocket, and I'm gonna let you go ahead and put some extra pressure there. You can lean forward, you can pulse it a little bit. And I should mention that this is kind of the more higher intensity, deeper massage standing up. If you want it to be a little less intense, if it doesn't feel very comfortable, go ahead and just sit down. You can do the exact same thing. Now I want to make sure that our calves are nice and stretched. I mentioned that they get really tight. So what I like to do is go into this nice deep lunge. So we take that foot back behind. I want you to think about pointing those toes forward. Hips are squared. We're sitting straight ahead, just like a nice proud warrior pose. Heel is coming down to the floor. I want you to go ahead and lift up onto the toe. Reach, like you're reaching for that tray of cookies. And bring yourself back. Take that heel down. Great job. Let's go for a couple more there. Last one. Let's go ahead and hold it there. Take that heel down as far as you can. Nice deep breath here. Nice stretch through that calf. Perfect. And now I do want to make sure we warm up those glutes. So let's go ahead and just do some good old-fashioned squats. So we're taking those hips back behind us. Weight is in our heels. Knees are not going beyond those toes. We're going to come on up here. Give those glutes a little extra squeeze for me so that they know what they're doing. Great job, guys. You can do as many as you want here. I like to do anywhere between 5 and 10. Just making sure everything is nice and warmed up. Now, let's go ahead and stand up here. We're gonna actually go into some calf raises to make sure those calves are firing the way they're supposed to be. But I wanted to start at your glutes. I know that sounds strange, but think about how your brain sends a message from the top of your head all the way down to your leg to fire up those quads. We're doing the exact same thing. Your brain is your butt. I know that's kind of a strange analogy, but I think you know what I mean. So go ahead, give those glutes a little squeeze and then roll up onto the balls of your feet. Perfect. And this takes some time. If you can't find those glute muscles, I totally understand. Gluteal amnesia is definitely a thing. If you want to look into it a little further, go ahead and watch our gluteal amnesia video. Let's go for 2 more here. All right, and that is our runners warm up. I also want to ask you a couple quick questions if you were to come to me and say that you have knee pain. My first question is, how much are you running and are you recovering in between? If we're running for long distances, unfortunately our bodies are just not designed to do that, and while I love to do that as well, it's important that as we age, we spend more time recovering. That means maybe taking a day off here and there. You can absolutely take an active recovery day, work on some strength training. I knew I could say it. But do make sure that you're taking some time to rest those knees. Another thing is, how often are you replacing your running shoes? Ideally, we should be replacing those running shoes every 2 months at least. Now, if you run a lot or if you have a very active lifestyle, you know, for me as a fitness instructor, I replace my shoes about every month. And you can eventually, you'll start to tell when those arches in those shoes start to fall because your feet, your ankles, and your knees are going to start hurting again. So make sure that you're replacing your shoes often, you're spending plenty of time recovering, and that you're warming up properly before your runs or whatever lower body cardio that you want to do. And of course, knee pain is very complex. It can involve a lot of different things. Not one solution is going to fix it. So by all means, if you have any more questions, please feel free to email us or reach out to Allie or myself here in the fitness center. I'm going to go ahead and pass it on off to her, and I will see you again at the end.
Hi everyone. So I'm Allie, and I'm here at the Fitness Center with Morgan, and I am going to talk to you about hypermobility in the knees. Hypermobility is extra flexibility when your muscles are too flexible, so you have too much flexibility. And one way that you can tell if you have hypermobile knees is when you stand. It's very difficult to see from a front view, so if you look from a side view, if you've ever been to a doctor and they look at you this way, you're hyperextending your knees. Basically, you're pushing your knees backward, not intentionally, you're just standing this way. If you see a picture of yourself and you notice this is how you're standing, one way that you can correct that is to strengthen the joints and muscles around the knees so that that doesn't become an issue and doesn't create pain in your knees when you're running or when you're dancing or doing any exercises, really walking. So I'm just going to show you a few exercises to help out with that. You'll have overactive quads. As Morgan mentioned, that's one of the concerns with having hypermobile knees, is that your quads take over and do the work for your poor knees, and your hamstrings might be tight, or they might need to be developed a bit more, and also your hips might need to be developed a bit more. And let's not forget the glutes. So the first exercise I'm going to show you is you're going to get your hips and glutes involved to strengthen them, to take pressure off your knees and not use your quads. We're not using our quads here. We're going to be using our glutes. So you just put your feet together and just place your arm down here to stabilize yourself and square your chest, and just do a few clams. I think it's a good idea to do about 12 reps. Do it about 3 times, and you can feel your glutes activate as you open up just the clamshell, and you're doing both the abduction and the adduction, which just means your hips, they're getting worked both by going out and coming back in, and that's a great strengthening exercise, and it doesn't involve your knee, and it will remind your hips and glutes to kick in whenever you're doing exercise versus just putting all that pressure on the quads and then keeping the knees weak. We don't want to do that. So of course you'll do the other side. And then another exercise that you can do is lying flat right here. You can just do some hamstring curls. Now try to bring that foot as close to your glute as possible, and you're gonna feel a stretch in your quad. And because we need to loosen up those quads. They're super tight, they work too much, and you're gonna wanna hold this for about 10 seconds. And this is a great way to stretch the quad. And the knee doesn't have any pressure on it when you do this. So just alternate those, of course. Nice deep stretch. And that will be great, and you can strengthen that way. I'm just gonna lift up a little bit. Also, if you're sitting in your chair, a good exercise to do is pretend this is my office chair. You're just gonna have your left leg, for example, just kind of resting, and then you just flex that foot and reach toward your ankle. And that's a good stretch as well. That'll get everything stretched out, and it'll feel good for the quads and the hamstrings. And another one you guys can do for the glutes, to strengthen the glutes and take pressure off the knees, is a glute bridge. Of course, we talked about, we've done those And you're just gonna press your feet into the floor, drive your feet into the floor, press up, press your pelvis up to the floor, squeeze your glutes, and make sure those knees don't roll in. I don't have one on right now, but one great way to make sure that you're really activating the glutes is to put a resistance band just above your knees and then perform those exercises. Like glute bridges and donkey kicks are another great exercise. I'm just gonna flip over, and you put your knees about shoulder width apart, hands are also about shoulder width apart, back is nice and flat, and you're just going to kind of put your toes down on the floor, flex your foot upward, and squeeze the glute. We're gonna do a few of those. I usually try to do a set of 8 on each side, and I do, like 3 reps, 4 reps. So that'll of course activate the glutes. And I also do the side glute ones here. The side glutes, just knee to the elbow. And that'll help activate that posterior chain we talked about, help the glutes and the hamstrings, because the quads are overactive. So let's help the glutes and the hamstrings and the hips strengthen so we can take some pressure off those knees and just have a better time working out and feeling better and not being sore. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So Morgan, of course, started us off talking about our running shoes and how we need to be replacing our active shoes, of course, depending on how many miles we're putting on those shoes. Putting miles on your shoes is a great thing, but you want to make sure that they stay supportive to support all of your joints, and you need to, of course, warm up before you go for a run, take care of your body, make sure that you take the time to recover and stretch and balance out your workout. And then I, of course, talked to you a little bit about hypermobility. While flexibility is a great thing, we can have too much flexibility, and then that can cause us pain and that can cause us burnout, and we need to make sure that that's not happening by checking ourselves, checking our posture, and again, making sure that we just stay balanced and take care of ourselves so that we can live our healthy, active lifestyles. Thank you.